Well, a wonderful good morning to you. Compliments of the season. It's the sound of Classic in the morning time. Classic 105.5 and 105.9. Indeed, it's a pleasure being here with you. I'm Joseph Cadore. I want to say thank you. For those of you who have not seen or heard in quite a while, welcome to this, the penultimate edition of To The Point for today, the 29th day of the month of December. Indeed, it has been a really wonderful year with being here with you. And indeed, for those of you listening Classic 105.5 or 105.9, or you probably following us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd or via our Facebook page or YouTube channels. We say thanks for being part of the conversation this morning. Indeed, it's a pleasure being here with you as we inch closer to bringing some closure to the year 2022, a year that many would say is a year of mixed emotions. It started off in some parts, apprehension, mixed feeling as to what the year 2022 would hold. But here we are, literally a year later, in the context of from where we were last year, and indeed we give God thanks and praise that we are still here. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good night, depending on which part of the universe that you are logged in from. Your boy JC here with you, and indeed it's really a pleasure being here with you on a Thursday morning. As we said, it's the penultimate episode of To The Point, the one before the last, and indeed we just want to take the time just to link and bond, reconnect with each other as we reflect on the year. And this morning we're going to have an open line segment, but specifically we want to just take what stood out most to you in the year 2022, the high points, the low points. And when I say low points, I'm hoping that I'm wanting us to have an objective conversation, because very often when we think of low points, we think just of the negative elements of it. But there can be low points that serves as a catalyst, as allows for a paradigm shift that allows for a change in fortunes. But certainly, let's have that conversation. 435-2041. We have a caller that is on the line. Good morning, caller. You're live. Hello, caller. You're live, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes, caller. Good morning. You're live.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I want to say something about some of the youths, because we're beginning, maybe in the next few days, a new year. Maybe it could be a new era too. Now, I want to inform the youths, or some of them, that they tend to believe that they are super gods on earth in Grenada. Now, as far as I'm concerned, most of them, and people say that they are educated because they have 10 and 20 and 30 CXC. But I would like to inform them that education is the key to success. And at the same time, education means fit to live and fit to live with. In other words, you should do all what in accordance with the laws of God and the laws of nature. In fact, why I want to address them now, it is because sometime on Saturday, I was talking to a gentleman, and a particular youth, I think the lady is from some part in Montparnasse, Reedy area. And to some extent, she attacked me and started telling me that I must hold my stupid mouth because what I say usually be stupid. As for her, I start from her because maybe she had 20 CXC, but multiple choice answers. So she might have guessed, and she got it. So she assessed me maybe lower than her, or what she think about me. But I consider myself a genius as compared to a lot of youth. Now I want them to change the attitude of dealing with aged people. I didn't say elder people,
Right.
because I think you know the difference between elder and age. If you are elder, I won't explain that, but you can explain it after I finish speaking.
Okay, sir.
Elder and age. What do we mean by that? Because we use words just loosely.
Okay.
And we think, especially youth, they are right. And I tell you, if I were in charge, I would abandon this thing of multiple choice question where you guess.
So let me ask you, sir, I think I get the essence of what you're saying. What are your recommendations? If you could probably give me in 30 seconds one recommendation that you would offer so as to address that issue.
My recommendation, my simple recommendation is perhaps some of the teachers may have to do a better job. I'm not telling you that they're not doing a good job. We have to reorganize.
To do a better job at what, sir?
We have to reorganize.
To reorganize.
For example, don't put open-ended questions and then expect.
No. I was asking you address a very pertinent question that sought to address the issue of the relationship, the variation in the behaviors, how young people would treat elders in society. Now I'm asking about that. What are you offering as a recommendation to address that? 30 seconds.
I would recommend that people like you and others like you try to give them some sort of a lesson on etiquette and the way to approach eligible people.
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. Thank you.
They need that.
Okay, sir. I'm with you on this. I'm with you. 6 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. It's the sound of Classic. Classic 105.5, 105.9. Is an open line offering for you this morning. And certainly we want for you to share your thoughts, your opinions as we review the year 2022. I know last year, around this time, many of us, we were probably wondering, coming from COVID, and while yes, there was a light at the end of the tunnel, there was still a sense of apprehension as to where to from here. The economy, our families, schools, the education system. What have we learned for the past year? 435-2041. So much has happened. We've had the general election that was called, and let's continue that conversation. Classic, good morning. You're live.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
And this program, there are times you must have to flush the toilet too,
Yeah, so whatever can I ask, if possible, you can either move away or turn down the device. Well, he's saying I would flush in the toilet. I'll leave that alone. 435-2041. And certainly just want to advise that once you call it into the program, I know many persons wants to hear themselves. That's a challenge for us. It offers a feedback. If you call, you move away from the device and let's conduct the conversation via the telephone. And that would serve us all well. And it's something that we say every time. 435-2041. What are your thoughts? What stands out most to you during the year 2022? We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live. Okay, 435-2041. I know there's been a lot of conversation, and one of the challenges that how do you have one of these objective conversations as you review the year, where you can be objective and not necessarily take political sides. And let's go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Morning, Joe. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and everything together.
Extending the same to you.
Thank you. Listen, Joe, it was a year, I could tell you that. With the COVID, when COVID hit, after a month, to be honest with you, I didn't think it would have lasted that long.
Right.
And I think it's a long period of it that really had a lot of us frustrated and stressed.
Yes.
When the country had shut down, because we were listening to it on the world scale out there, but when our country had shut down and small business like me had to close shop,
right,
and wondering what the hell going to happen tomorrow, that was a tough one. The other islands, the other Caribbean islands, the government were helping the people that had small businesses like me, and people that lost their jobs. They were helping because I had family, and they were saying the government was giving them that and all of that. But we weren't getting anything, and it was a dark day. It was a dark day at that time. The COVID did come. I look at us now. We are most of us are not wearing a mask anymore. is kind of mostly come back to normal again.
Right.
And here we are. The election came, and it was a pretty sight. In the building up of it, we had time to look at the different people that was running for the election. I looked at the Kit Mitchell government at the time, and then that time with the virus time as well, we had enough time to tune in to the outside world as well. For me, I learned a lot. I had the time because I wasn't getting up 2 o'clock in the morning anymore because there was nothing to do. You get up your normal time and you were able to listen to the news and everything that was happening. And so we had it. I and my family had enough time to reflect on. When the election come, I definitely wasn't going to get back that power that was in government would vote for them, because we saw. You know what was scary, Joe? When I saw the trucks, the trucks to bury to put the bodies there, that was scary, and. We knew that our hospital wasn't in the best of places over the years.
Right.
That was scary. And then I heard the ex-prime minister at the time was saying, and not he alone, but the still minister says, in other words, they will choose who live and die. And I think that too was scary, because again, when we reflect on our hospitals, we knew we were in bad shape, and we had to go down on our knees. I had to do it and pray that I never prayed before, and here we are today. I am excited for this new government. We and the majority of the people vote them out because they were not doing enough for the country. We look back at the last 5 years that they had there, and nothing was improving. To be honest with you, Joe, when I looked and I thought of my beautiful country, I saw myself in a deep hole, and I saw no future for my children and my grandchildren. There were no future. That's all what I was looking at when I looked out there. There were no future for us in this country, and I am so optimistic with this new government that we have. We can see there is a light beyond under the tunnel, Joe. I applied for small business. They had the CES thing, and I mean, I've never get anything from government. I'm a single parent. I've been working all my life, and they had the CES. I could have applied. I got what I wanted, and this new year I could improve and better the condition of my business, and I think a lot of people out there. So right now, I'm seeing there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm excited for this new beginning, and I just thank God that Joe, to be honest with you, I love my country even more than I love it before.
Great.
That is how I'm feeling.
Thank you.
Joe, have a good holiday.
Thank you. All the best
Enjoy.
to you also.
Don't eat too much.
No.
God bless you and your family.
God bless you as well.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And just to add to the conversation, that I don't think, just last caller, that it would be completely fair to say that there wasn't assistance that was offered. I think they remember the NDC administration did stimulus package 3.0, and I know the previous administration, there was at least 2 stimulus packages that were offered. As to whether or not you people would complain as to whether you were able to benefit from it, but to say that the help wasn't offered during the COVID period, I just wanted to clear the air on that in fact there was some measure of help that was offered. Were you satisfied? Were we all satisfied? That's a different conversation, though. But 14 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. I know I was having this morning conversation regarding the $500 for the nurses. That has been creating quite some excitement in the air. But we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Compliments you. All the best as you go into the new year.
New Year in advance. Let me ask you something. I listened to all the Christmas program and I didn't hear one from the NMP. What happened? They didn't send in a request that they didn't have a request to make to the people. They have no Christmas program. I don't understand that. What going on in this country?
I'm not sure I quite follow what it is you're making reference to, sir.
Listen, the Prime Minister had a Christmas message. All the government ministers at Christmas. But I don't hear one from the Prime Minister, from the NMP camp. I hear nobody, none
Well, well, as you said, so you said you did not hear. Doesn't in any way seem to suggest that one was not rendered.
Was there anyone rendered? You rendered?
Well, I did not hear. I know I read messages that were sent from the opposition. I had a script. I personally saw scripted messages. I saw messages that were written messages. So as I said, it's not fair to say. You said you did not hear. While I did not hear, I know because I read it was sent. It was issued through the GIS. Yes, one of the platforms. It was. I did receive electronic messages from the opposition. No problem, sir. Take care. 425-2041. And I like he was honest. He said he did not hear. And very often, I'd appreciate that. In his case, he apologized. And that's what I think it shows a sense of maturity and hoping that we can learn from each other. Not that you didn't hear doesn't in any way suggest that it did not, that it may not have happened. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Uncle Joe.
Good morning to you, and how are you?
Uncle Joe, how you do?
I am wonderful.
Uncle Joe, I miss you, man.
Well, that's why I'm here, so that we can end the year with a bang.
Uncle Joe, with a bang, but I will give you a joke.
Tell me.
My husband asking which place the big man from GBN, the big man that advertised. So every place you advertise item, my husband go in there and look to buy things that you advertise.
Okay, well,
and they call you the big man.
Okay.
All right, so how was your holiday, your Christmas?
It was very quiet, very, very, very quiet. For me,
right.
I like the season, but I take the lighter side of it.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I had my hands full. I had 14 grandchildren, and they're still there.
Right.
And anyway, but it was good, very good, no complaint.
Wonderful.
But, Uncle Joe, what I would like to see for this, I must say that the good Lord bless us, the change in politics is good. A change in everything sometimes a change is for the better and for the worse. But so far, as it is now, I think that change is going for the best, as it is. And I would like to see the hospital, the health department. Well, the hospital come a long way by the move from under the shed where people used to have to wait, the waiting shed, and up to the hospital, and which is good. But I would like to see insurance, health insurance. Now, some people doesn't like to hear pay money. But everybody should at least, I don't know how it's organized, but if they will have a health insurance and everybody have to contribute, whether it be at $10, whatever, because we need equipment, we need service, we need things at the health department. But we can't expect to get everything free. So I think we need to organize this health insurance. If the government invests some money in the insurance, and then we have to pay every month, whatever it is. Okay. I think that will be a good thing. Now, the people talking about the nurses get some incentive. The way I look at it, teachers, well, if you have a house with 20 children, I have 14 grandchildren, and I cannot give one $5 and don't give the other 13, because it look like it's favoritism. Maybe it's not favoritism because this one child must have done extra things, but still the 13 will look at it that way.
Right.
But everybody, as it has been said by the Minister of Health, that it's just a start. And then when you look at the teachers, no, I haven't heard the minister said that. This is my opinion. The teachers normally get some form of break, like August holiday, even if they have to go to seminars and stuff, but they get some little leeway, somewhere the long holiday. And I think the police too, but I'm not sure. But however, it would have been more fair if everybody gets something, because listen, everybody work hard in the COVID, and everybody needs something. But as you say, it's a start, and let us see where it will go. But you know what, Uncle Joe?
Tell me.
I haven't heard. You said you got some script, I saw the Honorable Prime Minister deliver his address. I used to see before the Honorable Dr. Mitchell giving his address on television and the ministers of government. But this year, I haven't seen nobody on the opposition appeared on television and give their constituents some form of something, Christmas greetings. And
Okay.
I think that's not nice. Sending a script or whatever is nothing. The people put you there. And it's because of the people that put the X. They spoke with their finger. Have you receiving big salary and big pension today? You should treat them better than that.
Okay.
Thank you, Uncle Joe.
Thank you very much.
You too. Welcome. Bye-bye.
435-2041, and certainly the people may take various positions on it, but we also have to ask ourselves the question. Remember, beyond the traditional media, there is the use of social media, which is becoming a predominant, ever-increasing outlet for disseminating information. So probably somebody from the opposition maybe to come whether or not there was any video, any recorded messages, but certainly let's continue the conversation. We'll take a break in the next 5 minutes. But the number on the inside, 435-2041. The $500 for the nurses. There was elections. COVID was all over and done, and the question was, how do we navigate our way into the year 2022, a year of a lot of unexpected elements to us. The war in Ukraine, literally was one of the signature events on the world stage this year, no doubt. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Jibian, and good morning to Grenada.
Good morning to you, sir.
Everyone, yeah. I will start from the beginning of the year last year. With the year that haven't finished yet, but with the beginning of the year, we started where we still had COVID, and it was a really tough time. I would like to congratulate the past government in the way they handled the COVID. There were some things that could have been better, but I think we did pretty all right until laid off. Otherwise, the election came in, and we had a great time. I think the Grenadian people made the right decision by changing the government and leaving our opposition. That was the best choice I think they did. I mean, I myself was satisfied with that. With this government, it's only a couple months gone. I think they're doing pretty well. I am pretty satisfied with what already happened. They have lots more work to do, and I'm hoping that the people be a bit of patience. I hear people complaining about the roads and everything. Yes, I myself have some problem with the road, but I don't expect the government to do everything at once in 6 months or in a year time. I know we have to give them some time. We got to blame the past government for part of that road doing. They didn't do enough to keep the road going. So this government now have it on their back, and I know if the NDC government did not or do not do anything about this road, they will get a lot of fire. So they better make up their mind. They got to do something about the road. The same way that they put out themselves to do the pension. I'm hoping that the road would be put as a priority because it's a really bad condition. It's in really bad condition. So I hope they would be listening and make themselves available to get some of this thing done with the roads. Because lots of complaint has been coming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All the best to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. It's to the point for today, the 29th day of the month of December. Here we are, a year later. I know a year ago around this time, many of us, we probably wondering, where to from here. Maybe we have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, are you there, sir?
Still here, sir.
Yes. Yesterday afternoon, around between 4 to 5, there was a gentleman driving a trailer which had a 40-foot container attached to it, going down Grandance area at full speed. Now, this time is a time where traffic is very busy on the road.
Yes.
But what made this thing so ridiculous and crazy, and delinquents would cost people their lives in Grenada. This man was going around a corner and I was right underneath the trailer. When I say that, just close enough to the trailer to see what was going on.
Right.
And he swung the corner with one hand holding the phone, speaking to somebody, and turning this big tractor trailer, turning it around the corner. My goodness gracious. What madness is this? Now, it's ridiculous for a car, but for a trailer with a 40-foot container attached, this is total craziness. Now, I also want to know if the police, if they finish their duties at 4, because when I scanned the Gallants area, I didn't see any policemen around.
Right.
I want to know if the police finished their duty, because police, I lived abroad, and police are on duty at all times. So I would like to know what that situation is, if the police finish their duties at 4. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. And I mean, and certainly while that the gentleman's experience, some may say it's an isolated one. I think there's a general conversation about safety on the road, speeding on the road. Only a couple of days ago, I'm at home myself, and there is a trailer not a trailer, one of the SLs, and I am asking myself, is there a need for a truckman to be driving that fast? I mean, and I'm like thinking, like, seriously. And I think it just calls for general conversation and just something the use of common sense as to the way we navigate our ways on the nation's road. But let's go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, and season greetings to you and your followers, Joe.
Thank you. Happy compliments to you.
Well, there are a couple of days yet to go, but God has blessed us, and most of us, or all of us who are hearing this, are alive to see the last few days of 2022. And I would say, there's a song that says, what a difference a day makes. And I would say, what a difference a year makes. At this time in 2019, everyone was excited about 2020. And now history has recorded what happened in 2020 and 21 and for part of 22. Those 3 years they really represented a very bad spot in the history of the world with the pandemic. 2022 didn't begin too bright either. We just came out of the Delta. But the second half of the year, we had elections. And what a difference this has made. We know that man would never solve the problems of the world. And we know that this new young team, they will make mistakes along the way. They will blunder. But I tell you, Joe, that it is as though a load has been lifted off our backs, the scales have fallen from our eyes, and there seems to be a fresh enthusiasm and zeal and positive spirit in our country.
Right. And
we just pray for them. We hope that we don't know what is lying and await for us in 2023. COVID came from nowhere. But we just want to wish them all the best, and we want to wish our country the best. And I trust that all of us will come together in the spirit of unity and in the spirit of patriotism and help to develop this country. 2023, from the outset, seems to provide a great opportunity for us as a young nation.
Indeed, sir.
God bless everyone.
Thank you. Okay. And on that, we take a quick commercial break indeed. With the change in, with every new year, the dawn of every new day, comes the opportunity for change and a paradigm shift. Where to from here? Take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right here on To The Point.
You know, one day I woke up and, you know, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. You know, nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Feel good facts. Remember, if you have flu symptoms, do the right thing and stay at home to avoid giving it to others. Remember, you can be infectious up to a week after developing symptoms, so rest up and take it easy.
It's 29 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. Good morning to you wherever you are. This is To The Point, the penultimate one for the year 2022. And certainly this morning we have an open line segment. One of the issues that have been trending, conversation that have been trending in more recent times, is the $500 payment honorarium by the health ministry to nurses. And some say, well, you give one, you give the other. Some are saying it's not enough. And many people are asking, I mean, is it that we that myopic in the way things that have been done, or is it that we are ungrateful, we don't appreciate the good things that's been done? Some are saying it's just a smoke screen for that puts us in a position where we don't deal with the greater issues. There's been a call for health insurance and all of these different things. But what are your thoughts really though? Let's just run the clip with the minister making the pronouncement as to the reason why the payments has been made to the teacher, to the nurses, that is, as was promised in the 2022 budget.
To me, it was an apology to our nurses for being called chicken thieves. 1. 2, to me, it was an apology also for the way that they have been treated over the past few years. Devalued, disdained, lack of compassion, and I can go on.
Health Minister Jonathan Lacrette says government's honorarium to nurses in the amount of $500 per month serves as an apology, not for tomfoolery.
As an administration, we do not have the time for Bear and Nancy pageantry. The $500 honorarium was not given to trick, coerce, mama guide our nurses. If we wanted to do that, we would have given them $5,000.
This $500 monthly token payment to nurses also serves as a discouragement to migration.
Nurse, we need you. Doctors, we need you. The situation is not of the best. We understand that. But hear the cry of your minister. If you leave, we are crippled. If you leave, we are doomed. Give us the opportunity to value you and to show you that you mean something to our system.
Is that enough to encourage nurses to stay in Grenada and continue to provide much-needed services? Minister Lacrette says he simply doesn't know, but it's worth a try. He said reform in the health sector will require an aggressive reformative posture geared towards addressing a number of deficiencies, including filling vacant positions. The human resource factor he addressed was the need for training for locals to take up senior positions. A recent issue at the Monge Mental Hospital was also considered, as he said local healthcare workers are treated by some brought in to provide their service in a way not fitting to humans.
When they come in, there is a level of superintendence and superiority that is placed over our people because they know we need them. So they leverage that need with disdain and disgust. But it will stop, Madam President.
Cherian Blackman, Stephen, GBN News.
We work too hard, and we have to look at this thing in a more holistic way and see it as a necessary thing to help few critical caregivers that we are losing at an alarming rate, and we can't do without an agreed minister on that one.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
452041, the honorarium for the nurses. Long overdue. Is it a step in the right direction, or is it just a smokescreen as government, well, some would always probably argue whether or not they're able to really fulfill and make much of a change. What's the conversation as you do to the point, open line this morning as we consider on the year that was 2022. The question is where to from here. The education system, I mean, there's been a lot of concern as to what the state of our mental health would be coming out of COVID. Now we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Hello?
Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yes. You see the difference of people? Instead of accusing nurses of stealing back a neck in the hospital, you see what we can do now to the nurses? And go home, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. 435-2041. Again, I want to encourage all callers that once you're calling in, you either move away from the device or we can have the conversation. You don't need to be close to it or even be listening to the radio or television. We can conduct the conversation via the telephone. 435-2041. And let's just take some comments via social media. This contributor says the last 5 months you can feel a natural breeze that is flowing in the air, which is called transformation by the new administration. We're going to continue to just take some general thoughts and comments, but we're going to go back to the telephone line right now. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Yes. Joe.
Yes, good morning. You're alive.
People know. We the people must obey the laws of Grenada. And the only how we can make progress is to obey the laws. For example, even when we see what people are doing, they're building houses right on the road, whether it's main road or by road. And we have, as I had alluded a few minutes back, we have big trucks.
Okay, before you go, sir, let's make sure we put this conversation in perspective. You said you were seeing people that are building next to the
building things on the side of near to the road, maybe 2 feet, 3 feet.
When you say things, what exactly are you referring to?
Obviously, if they're building buildings, then if they're building buildings, or they're constructing anything.
And is it new build?
For example, in River Road, the thing they are building for the wall, for the water, the river. You notice building coming up on the side of the river there already?
Okay.
These things should never happen. You understand what I'm talking about now? Eh?
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad you understand. Now, this is the problem. Somebody or some set of people are not doing their work. Why should you allow people to start putting building there? The construction area is not been completed. You see big building there with shops and this and thing. This should never happen on the side of the road in Grenada. Obviously, I don't know if we remain constant But we have to make change because we having bigger trucks or big vehicles. So we need wider roads. We need wider roads. And somebody has to pull up the people's socks and make them know what they're supposed to have to do, what they're supposed to do.
Right.
This is causing a lot of inconvenience with even me as a driver with these big trucks. You have nowhere to go because as soon as you go on the side of the road, you climb in a step, and that would make you turn over easily. Okay. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you have so many accidents, because these entrance to the houses have a home. Some of them have home. You're meeting a lot of old cars. I'll know now they're doing it. But we have too many vehicles. People who buy vehicles must have a place, or government should see to make sure that they have a place, maybe away from the road to park these vehicles. You cannot get space to park even if an oncoming vehicle is coming on his or her side.
Okay.
So you're on your side, you have nowhere to go.
I'm with you, sir.
And for that matter, okay, the policemen are standing there in groups. 3-4 of them, you see them, and some of them have their hands behind their back. What do you see having them? And they said they were trained. I don't understand what training they're getting. Thank you very much. I have more to say.
Thank you very much, sir.
But I don't know if you understand what I say.
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. I think the caller made some valid points. I think there's an issue with the congestion on our nation's roads, the increasing size of the roads have remained the same size, and width and everything in most parts. You have an increased volume of traffic on the road, and certainly it's as though you have to be competing. As the question is whether or not there's adequate sidewalks for pedestrians. It's a conversation that really needs to be had as we chart our way forward as a nation in terms of what we do, how we do. The issue, erecting things on the side of the road. I had a conversation this year with members of the IRGPF that parking your vehicles on the side of the road, there are laws against that. But so some of the issue is not necessarily, it has to be more with lack of enforcing the law rather than the law itself, because in very many cases the law is there and serves to guide what can be done, how it should be done. But we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning to you. And I just want to say that I support that $500 offered to the nurses. It says more than the $500 says a lot, in my opinion. It gives the nurses a sense of someone cares, someone has listened to you, someone has made a promise to you, someone has fulfilled the promise. And that, in my opinion, will give a level of peace in mind to the nurses. A nurse with a peace of mind, or an added peace of mind, or a contribution that adds to the peace of mind of the nurse, will benefit everyone who goes for care. And a lot of people who will go for care could be life and death.
Right.
So the benefit that we give here to the nurse, it will benefit down the road to people who are critical. And I think it's wonderful. It's a wonderful gesture. I look at more than just the $500, but the peace of mind and confidence that $500 will bring to the nurses who have spoken to the minister, and the minister has listened, and we are sure that he listened, and policy decision has been made from what they request. I think that level of peace and confidence will get nurses to stay home. It will contribute to it, and also the service that they provide. It will contribute to the service that they provide, and the beneficiary from that service will also benefit. So I think it's a good gesture.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, Granny always say, when you're not expecting and you receive, just say thank you. And I live by that. You know, you're not expecting it comes your way, you say thank you. Good morning, caller. You alive?
Good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Cadore, I know it's serious, no still getting money, but I hope you will try. Well, Mr. Cadore, my issue is now, I understood that the government gave some businessmen some pardon. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
The government did what, sir?
They pardoned some businessmen with money that probably they had to hand over to the government and they didn't hand over, something like that. Yeah. Now, if that is the case, right, and the money is back money, that can't be fair to the public because it's not the businessman money. It's the public who was paying the VAT and the businessmen holding the money for the government. So if the government pardon them that they don't hand over that money, because I'm not too sure, then that could never be fair to me who pay my VAT. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If that is a scenario, I'm not sure what exactly it is you were referring to, and the specifics relating to that. But certainly, whatever decision was taken, certainly I think as citizens, if it is there's a legitimate argument there, but you wish to query it, then so be it. The year that was 2022. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Hi, good morning, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. And yourself?
Compliments for this season.
Thank you, and it's
Joe, I want to take this opportunity. To thank the many, many people. I have a small business, and I want to take this opportunity to thank many, many of them that patronize in the little business for the year. I want them to know without them, I could not have reached so far. So I mean it from the depths of my heart. And I pray and ask God to bless them with good health, most important, and job, that we could able to continue to do business for the new year. Wonderful. So everybody, have a happy new year. And thanks again, I mean it. Bye-bye.
Thank you, caller. It's good to say thanks, and very often we tend to complain about everything else, and we do not ever stop to say thank you. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive. Good morning to you.
Good morning to your listeners and to your viewers. Now, I mean, I'm happy that we're having the conversation on the issue with the nurses and so on. This morning, there was the argument that, maybe other people should get. But I think, as I mentioned, we have to look at the word priority. Some people have put it very succinctly, very candidly, that if you have a cut, you have to stop the bleeding. And I think this is what the government maybe intention is. And also, we tend to forget that, and then we quote scripture, like we said, my word shall not return to me void, or we shall be condemned by our words. When you have a leader that was accusing the nurses and so on of thieving, whatever, some people don't like to hear the word repeated, the chicken, but we used to call the man by right, we used to call him a similar name. But it seems to me that people like to be convenient. And in fact, I'll use a concept from the Pope Francis, where he said some time ago that most people have isolated conscience. So they're very strong on something, and then in the end, another time, they pretend, or they try to make believe that something didn't happen. I see we spent so much money trying to put those fellas in jail and even trying to get them executed the 17. But when it comes to doing investigation on the wrongdoing of the former administration, we tend to say that it's politics, and let's forget that. Let's be holistic. Let's don't refer to the past. I mean, we have to be serious. We have to be accountable for what we do. And whether we're in office or not, our deeds will follow us. Finally, Joseph, I hope that in the new year, we will try to learn to listen to each other. We don't really listen. We hear. So we don't learn. And as a result, we're still the same way we started many, many years ago, in the ignorance, in the darkness of our ignorance. So if we could listen to each other a little more, a little bit patient, and tolerant, not even tolerant, but respect. All of us have a point of view. All of us coming from a vantage point. So we have to understand, unfortunately, that the majority of people are really behind the 8 ball. And when I look at what is needed right now, we really have a lot of catching up to do. People must, in fact, we have to encourage one another to learn to read. and also observe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Enjoy the rest of the year and hope you have a bright new year.
Thank you, and I extend the same to you. 10 minutes on to the hour, to 5 minutes left in the program, to the point this morning. And open line, your thoughts, reflections on the year thus far as we inch closer to the new year. I know people, those who started making resolutions and such. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live. Hello, caller. Caller. Yes, I'm hearing you, but there's a nasty feedback on the line. Is it possible that you can either move away from the device that you're close to or take it off altogether and let's conduct the conversation via the telephone? Yes, caller?
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. What happened in the upper house, which is the Senate, yes? The senator there responsible for agriculture has asked a number of questions to the new administration. But they're asking the question, I think because of the new administration taking over government and the past being there, they're asking questions to the new administration to give answers to. So we went on to ask a number of questions. We wanted to know about to whom the Belvedere estate in Belvedere St. Andrews was listed, what is the duration of the lease, and how much more years is remaining on the lease. But I think Senator Spencer should have asked the NNP administration those questions. I'm not saying he's not obligated to ask the new administration those questions or look into the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he should be, he's been there for a while, he should be asking the past administration those questions. It's in the Grenada today.
Are you suggesting that those questions were never asked before in the parliament?
Well, I would say that because I'm now hearing it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what are the specific questions you're referring to. But in my regard, I would say government is a continuum. So if I ask it 5 years ago and you now here, and it has to be asked, questions are needed, somebody have to answer.
Someone like you who is in the media, and I'm listener, we should be acquainted to those everyday current affairs.
What I'm saying, sir, you did not make reference to which specific questions. And I'm asking you the question whether or not those questions were ever previously asked.
Okay, the questions I'm talking about here was question number 1, unanswered at the setting of October 11, 2022.
And the point I'm making to you is, I know what the questions are. I was just asking you so that we can develop and put the conversation in perspective as to whether or not they were ever asked prior. That's
I don't have an idea. I don't have an idea of that.
But I understand the point that you're making, and I would look at it objectively. Maybe it's possible it was asked in a previous setting, and an answer wasn't forthcoming. But as I said, because government is a continuum, the onus is not necessarily asking for the minister to give a response, but at some technocrat within the Ministry of Agriculture, they should be able to provide that information. And I say you keep knocking the door until the answers are revealed.
Yes. So this was an article in the Grenada Today newspaper, 23rd, Friday the 23rd.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Thank you. All the best to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And I understand the call this moment, but I think really, in all fairness to the senators, ministers, if there are questions that are outstanding, I say you press until you get the answers. One day, it will be provided. Open up. This is the final call for today. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo that caller before me. I think that minister seemed to impress me, and I think he's doing a good job, I have to say. But I do think that I have an exponent to make it. There are people that normally call your program, right? And call God's name in anything, politics, whatever. And I do think that, you cannot be just calling God name in anything. I don't know how to get to that point. Just calling God name in anything that come within their mouth. I mean, I think you should have some respect when you're calling God name. Oh, maybe they're talking about some kind of God. Maybe they God in the closet, or maybe they money, maybe they whatever. I don't know what they're talking about, because I know when you're calling God name, you have to be on a serious level. You just call God name anyhow, anytime, when you feel like it in politics, attach it to people's name.
But how do you determine that the person is or isn't serious?
But to me, listen to me, bro. I don't know how we reach to that point. We can use God name in anything.
No, I'm just asking, how do we determine that the person is or isn't serious?
Well, based on what you call it, use God name with. I mean, you can't just be talking about COVID and call God name like, you're talking about Deacon calling God name, you're talking about Kit Michelle calling God name. I mean, Come on, bro.
And I understand the point, and I guess depending on how much of a spiritual person your religious stance, and sometimes there are things we just do out of habits. And
it can't be a habit. It can't be a habit.
I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily it's right. I'm saying there are things that people they do that we do, and it just we do it out of habit. And I say so, to each his own.
I think we should go back to the place where we fear God, not just call God name and think, well, because I do believe the God name they call it can't be the Almighty, because the Almighty is a serious being.
The interesting thing
is be something that they're talking about.
The interesting thing is that we would never know which God they are referring to.
It cannot be the Almighty.
And I'm not going to lose sleep to try to figure out which one though. All the best. You take care. And this is as far as I can take the conversation this morning. People, we live in a time where we need to call on God more often than not. But certainly, to each his own. Who are we to determine somebody's calling God and they're not serious about it? But folks, this is as far as I can take you. The Congress is on. We literally tomorrow is going to be the final program, and certainly I know as we inch closer to the end of the year, and many of us we start thinking about the resolutions. What next? Where to from here? I say whatever is it. We allow the experiences of the year that was, the year that has gone thus far. Let it be a guiding light to us as we navigate our way into the future of our lives. Maybe the things. Accepting and realizing there's some things in life we cannot change. Those things that we are able to change. The question is, what are we going to do? Do we sit by idly and do nothing, or do we complain, or do we become agents of change? This is as far as I can take you. Until another time, another place, when we do, which is good, the good Lord's will, and will be tomorrow. Thanks for being part of the conversation. JC loves you. Have yourself a great one, Grenada.